Good afternoon everyone, it's Peter Moran again from Property Central. I'm here today with our special guest, Naomi Vargas. Welcome, Naomi.
Thank you.
Right, so Naomi is also one of our very experienced property managers, and today we're going to talk about the subject of lease signing. So the first question for you, Naomi, is how old does someone need to be in order to sign a lease?
Yes, so they need to be 18, classified as an adult to be on the lease.
Excellent. Right, now obviously you've done a lot of lease signings in your many years of property management. What is the most common term that tenants would sign leases for?
Yeah, we always do a 6 or 12 month lease, depending on the preference of the tenant and the owner agreeing. A lot of them prefer to do a 6 months up front, just initially start off, but some prefer a long term, and we just roll with either the 6 or 12.
Okay. Well, and of course when it comes to the signing of the lease, we make an appointment with the tenant to come into our office, which we're sitting here right now. What are the normal requirements for them in terms of the outlay of funds required for them to then enter into that property?
Yep, so upon signing the lease, when they come in and do all the documents, we also need to do their bond lodgement. So they need to have all the monies sent off to the bond board, which is the 4 weeks rent. But we do also have the option of doing an online lodgement now, which is emailed out to them prior to them coming in. So they can lodge it all and do all the monies online before coming in. If not, we get the paper copy signed with their money order or bank check, and they can do that while here. Also, the second week's rent that they will need to pay on the property, because their holding deposit will class as the first week's rent.
That's right. So most commonly, and I've done a lot of property management myself over the years, the tenant would start off with what's called their 2 weeks rent in advance.
Yep.
Which is the composing of that holding deposit, and then of course the initial payment that they're making when they sign the lease. So where a lot of confusion that happens with tenants is when they vacate the property and they think, well, hang on, I had that 2 weeks rent in advance. Yeah. So just explain to those that are a little bit unsure about the process, really what happens with that first 2 weeks of rent.
Yep, so when they sign the lease and we get them to be 2 weeks up front, then they just need to make another payment before the next week ends, and then they're always that 1 week ahead. Coming up to their lease ending date, or when they want to vacate, their vacate date. Obviously it's the same pay to date, so they can stop paying rent earlier, given that, being the vacate date, they only need to be paid up to that date. If they are overpaid and then they vacate, then we reimburse the overpaid rent, but it's always on those dates.
Correct. Right, so I guess probably the other part of the lease, there's always two parts. The first part is really the 8-page document from the fair trading, which is the normal lease. And the second part, which I think is equally important, probably more so, is the ingoing inspection report. So just to explain a little bit about that document as to what's involved. Yep,
well, it's very, very thorough these days. Very different to back in the old days with the carbon copy.
Yep.
But we go through very comprehensively before the tenant moves in and take extensive amount of photos throughout the whole, pretty much inches of the whole property, through every cupboard, through every drawer, and then write out a report as well. So they get a copy of that either emailed to them or hard copy on the signing the lease, and then they have 7 days to return that to us. If they want to add any additional comments that they may have noticed living in the property for that 7 days, they can return that to us. Otherwise, if that's not returned to us, then they've just accepted it how it is, how we have on our report.
Excellent. All right, well hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight about what happens with the lease signing process. And until next week, thank you very much and have a great weekend.